Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us this afternoon with our Ingram Micro Cloud team. This afternoon, we'll be taking you through an overview of the new Office 365 E5 plan, and also taking you through just a few of the updates with our Ingram Micro Cloud Marketplace that we've had come on board over the next few months. Joining me today is Robert Crane from Skype and Microsoft MVP. And I'm Craig Bobed, the National Manager for the Ingram Micro Cloud Solutions team here. So as we get started this afternoon, for those that are kind of joining us for the first time, just to really give you an overview of who we are here at the Ingram Micro Cloud team and what it means for us as we come into markets here and expand our reach with our resellers. So we are a global team. The marketplace that we have here in Australia is exactly the same as the marketplace that we have in New Zealand and Hong Kong and the UK and the US, and about 18 different regions here now. So it very much is a global approach for us. Marketplace platform in itself is something that we own in its entirety, and we do all our own development on there as well. But one of obviously the key things is the processes and the people that we have here on the ground. So while we are a big global team, we have about 8 or 9 of us here now locally across Australia, able to get out and have these types of conversations with our partners, and obviously out having those conversations with your clients as well. So when we talk about this whole thing about cloud, really we're not coming at it from a technology point of view, but more from a business point of view. Particularly when we're looking at these subscription models, things like Office 365 and doing the billing, it really is a new way of going out to market, being able to bundle your IP, your services, management, administration, around those services and taking it out on a true user per month model. And that has ramifications, obviously, both from the client end as well as resellers in the business end. How do we move away from this technology conversation and really get to understand the businesses and what they do, how they do it, so that we can find more and more solutions to help ease their pain and help them grow as well. The key thing is making sure that we can turn the lights on as we move towards these subscription services. Some of those big hefty projects tend to kind of be spread out over longer time. So how do we go out and look at increasing revenue per customer and looking at those extra services? So that's really what we come from as a team. So we're really here to help be that consultant for yourselves and for your customers about how we can best look at your business and their business and map the correct technologies back from there as well. And that's where we talk about this idea of this MSP 2.0 model, becoming that virtual CIO. It's not just talking about looking at hard drives and replacing machines and spinning up Exchange servers. A lot of that stuff now is kind of wrapped up to this subscription model. So how do we get in and really understand what they do, how they want to do it, and start looking at areas like CRM or business intelligence or security. But that takes a mind shift both from a reseller point of view and a client point of view. And again, really that's where we're coming from the micro cloud side of things. And so I just want to share with you just kind of an overview of when we talk about cloud, we're really talking about building this entire ecosystem. And while we have things like Office 365 and we have our cloud marketplace where it's really easy to transact, bill, and manage customers, there's also everything wrapped around that, the support side of things, making sure that we're getting the right vendors on board, helping you with best practice solutions, helping with channel enablement and education and the workshops and the boot camps that we do. And again, having that conversation about how we can look at creating your unique IP and helping develop your unique go-to-market to be able to really take that out, build your brand and expand your services and expand your reach out in market. We have access to all of that within our Ingram Micro Cloud team. We can put you in touch with marketing, we can put you in touch with the services, we can put you in touch with support and vendors. All that we're able to pull together for you, wrapped around that marketplace and services piece as well. So let's have a quick update on where we are with our cloud marketplace. We've been very, very busy over the last 3 months or so. However, there's some of you out there that haven't even yet jumped on and activated your Ingram Micro account on the marketplace. And it just couldn't be simpler. You are already 90% of the way there. You have your Ingram Micro TechLink login details. All you simply need to do is navigate to the cloud marketplace. You can either go there directly to au.cloud.im or log into TechLink and you'll see a big beautiful tile on the right-hand side that will take you to the cloud marketplace. Or if you're lucky enough to have a spare shortcut slot in that blue bar as you log in, you can actually add in the cloud marketplace there as well. Once you're on the cloud marketplace, all you need to do is log in with those existing details. Now, it does have to be an admin level credential login. All you're going to do is activate your account. You're going to double check your contact details. You're then going to select whether or not you want to go on to credit card purchasing or you want to go on to a terms account. Once you've gone through that process, about 10 minutes later, you'll be all activated. Simply need to log in, and then you'll have access to all the programs and all the services that we have there in the marketplace. And I'll touch on those in a little minute. However, just on the marketplace itself, when we first log in, that's where we're setting up new customers and new services, whether it be a 365 or a Dropbox or a Cronus. This is where we're doing that initial provisioning and setting up of new services and clients. Really, when we dive into the back end, into the control panel there, that's where we can manage all our existing users, we can manage all those existing subscriptions, look at renewals, we can actually set up pricing, we can set up notifications, we can set up sales teams and marketing codes within there. And that's really key in itself because you can actually open up another level where your clients can log in and manage their own subscriptions and services in there as you wish as well. So it's very, very much a multi-layered platform in there, very powerful. And if you haven't yet logged on and activated your account, as soon as you've done that, reach out to us and we're more than happy to tee up a time to do a bit of a demo with you. Or, in fact, every Monday at 1 p.m., we're on this same WebEx channel, happy to answer any of your questions or do a demo session. So after today's webinar, we'll send out details around that. But absolutely, every Monday, 1 p.m., we'll be here to help out as well and answer any of those questions. Because, again, there's a lot to the marketplace. It's a very powerful tool, so we'd like to be able to show you what it can do. So, what's new? Our latest addition to the family here at Ingram Micro Cloud is Dropbox. Dropbox Business has just launched with us. And if you keep track of us in our social media streams, you would have seen our favorite Dropbox Panda jumping around the office. Dropbox for Business is now live. It is on an annual subscription. If you haven't already joined up as a Dropbox partner, all you need to do is navigate to dropbox.com/reseller, fill out the form, and they'll issue you with a Dropbox ID. And that ID you'll need when you're provisioning a new Dropbox account. But Dropbox is up there and running already now. In the next couple of days, you'll actually also see BitTitan join us on the cloud marketplace. BitTitan is another great set of tools around migration and deployment of the Office 365 suite. And if you've been using the Skype suite, absolutely, there's a few more tools in the BitTitan portfolio there as well. But again, BitTitan will be launching with us just a little bit later this week. And finally, Acronis Backup. So Acronis Backup joined us a wee while ago. In fact, you'll see an invite going out very shortly this week for a webinar around Acronis. But Acronis Backup is up and live on there now as well. So as you can see, we're starting to add more and more vendors to our family here, the Ingram Micro Cloud. Microsoft Azure will actually be launching next month in Marketplace as well, but if you're already transacting Azure within the CSP family, we can already set that up for you as well. Just a quick update, if you haven't already dived a little bit deeper into our marketplace and looked at all the services in there, obviously we also have our Ingram Micro Service Desk in there as well, offering level 1 and level 2 desktop support. So if you are bringing on more and more customers and you want to be able to scale out your support there as well, our Ingram Micro Service Desk is there to help white label your service and help push that out for you. The other thing I just wanted to quickly jump in on is some of the additions to our services here. So as I said, when we're talking about cloud, we're really talking about this whole ecosystem. And so outside of the marketplace, we also have a lot of tools and services to help you expand your portfolio and take out to market. We've just brought on a new SharePoint intranet service called the Business Hub. So this is a intranet in a box for businesses. So you've got the ability to go out and sell, obviously, the SharePoint services as part of Office 365, and now we've got a productized SharePoint intranet that you can then resell and deploy on top of that as well. We've also added a couple of new strings to our bow when it comes to the training services. So we now also have a vanilla label Office 365 interactive learning portal, Office 365 Accelerate, very much an interactive training portal for your customers. Very, very key around that whole customer adoption and success piece is making sure that they know how and they are using all those rich services that are within the Office 365 family. And then also on top of that, if you're doing a little bit more of a larger deployment or they want to dive deeper into some of those key areas, we've obviously got the ability to do white labeled in-house training or virtual lab training there as well around a whole bunch of services, but again, very key around that Microsoft piece as well. Also very exciting that you'll see launch in the next couple of days is our new Elevate On Demand training portal. Again, in conjunction with Rob Crane. We're starting to roll out some of these on-demand courses around the SharePoint and Office 365 administration, both in a weekly email format or jump on to our video portal. You'll see more and more of these courses start to roll out over the next few months, but you'll see a big announcement in the next couple of days with the first round launching very, very soon. All right, well, look, that's great. That's it all for me. As I said, just wanted to give you a quick update as to where we are at the moment. I will be joining you back at the end, just covering off a few of the promos that we've got in market. But I'd like to hand you over to Rob to take us through the Office 365 E5 suite. Rob, over to you.
Thanks, Craig. You can hear me?
We can indeed.
Excellent. Okay, so slide. So we can go to the slide. Next slide for me. And just build that out for me to advanced threat protection, if you don't mind. One more. That's it. Okay. So for those of you who aren't aware, there is an additional SKU at the top of the range when it comes to Office 365 called E5. So the E5 is designed to add additional features to E4 and eventually replace E4. So the scheduled retirement for the E4 SKU will be around December this year, and that will be replaced with the E5. Now, what the E5 brings on board is everything that the E4 has, so unlimited mailboxes, Office on the desktop, advanced SharePoint, advanced Skype for Business, but it also brings in things like Cloud PBX, meeting broadcast thanks to Skype for Business, Delve Organizational Analytics, Power BI Pro, Customer Lockbox, and Advanced threat protection. So we'll do a quick run through on all of those. But remember, the important thing here to remember is that the E5 is the E4 plus those additional features that I have added on there, and eventually the E4 will be deprecated. Slide, please. Okay, so obviously I believe you'll be getting a copy of this slide deck, so you don't have to remember this by rote, but again, you'll see the E5 on the right-hand side, and you'll notice the different options that it now includes. You'll also see the comparison to E4 and E3. Now, again, obviously the E5 is a premium product. It is designed at the one end of the scale. The way to look at this is to go in and speak to clients about selling all the benefits that the E5 has provided. My experience has been that many resellers look at selling a business premium or maybe even business essentials to try and get the sale, thinking it's based on price, whereas most customers are keen to use the functions and facilities that are part of E5. So again, things like unlimited mailbox, legal hold, again, the advanced security that comes with E5 around customer lockbox. And the important thing to consider here for resellers is the fact that we will shortly see the cloud PBX and Pstn conferencing ability available, and that will be through the E5 suite. So that basically will allow you to deploy a full PBX system hosted in the cloud. You'll also be able to connect that directly to the standard traditional Pstn line, so that customers will then be able to make direct calls from a desktop or from a mobile device. Next slide, please. Okay, so again, a thing that I hear a lot is confusion around what does each option include. I think that there are the service descriptions out there for Office 365, but I would point you towards this site as a good way to compare plans side by side. So basically, you can go in the top section and you can select your Office 365, what sort of service, the plan type, and then the comparison. And then down below, it will then update you and show you all the low-level feature by feature, all the differences in between. So if you want to understand or you want to see the specific plan differences between different items in Office 365, I would point you towards this TechNet site. Obviously, the service descriptions are great, but this gives you that extra low level of detail. Okay, next slide. Again, so let's get into the E5 features in a bit more depth so we can get some idea of what that is. So as I mentioned before, some of the big changes and improvements have come recently for Skype. So most Skype instances now support something called Skype Meeting Broadcast. Think of that basically as a way to now broadcast to up to 10,000 current users. It also allows you, for example, to set up, like I suppose, a studio environment where you can have multiple people using Skype for Business with multiple cameras, and then someone else as a director can come in and switch between cameras and switch between options. The other advantage Skype Meeting Broadcast gives you is the ability to record videos on the fly, so like a DVR capability, which means it will not only record it, but will also stream it for you. So what that means is someone's watching the recording, they can pause it, get up, maybe get something to drink, come back, and when they push play, it will pick up from that position going forward. So, and it will be recording always in the background. Once it has recorded, it can be replayed by going to that link. So again, a great option if you're working with meetings, allows you to stream it live and also to record it, and it's all available typically through a web browser. The Pstn conferencing is not far away. That basically will allow people to dial in using a normal telephone Pstn call and connect up to a Skype for business meeting. So you can organize a meeting, you'll be able to put in the phone number, and that will be sent out as an invite in your Outlook, and when the user dials that number, they will be brought into that meeting automatically as simply just an audio connection. Again, it gives you that flexibility for those people who may be on the road and don't have access to a PC at all times. So the connection to the Pstn conferencing, again, is a feature that will be available soon and available as part of the E5 suite. Now, the next step up again in Skype for Business is to actually have the whole exchange hosted the phone exchange hosted in the cloud. So what that's going to give you is basically the ability to have users who are already in Office 365 with login and a password. You can allocate them a Skype for Business account, which will give them potentially access to VoIP calls, to the ability to set up phone numbers, to set up routing rules so that they can control where their phones are, what hours it's on. Again, so anything you can do typically with normal on-premises PBX, you'll be able to do directly with Office 365. The advantage that Office 365 provides, obviously, is the fact that it's all integrated with the identity of your users. So whether you have users in the cloud or the other advantage is if you have users who are still on premises and you are using the Azure AD Connect to synchronize those users from your local AD up into Office 365, then those users will then have their identities available to be used in the Cloud PBX system. So again, at this point in time, the Cloud PBX system is a to-be-announced feature, but we're expecting to see it very soon. The final option for Skype for Business that, again, is coming very, very soon is the connectivity between Skype for Business Cloud PBX and normal Pstn phone lines. So this means that you can be on a Skype for Business call and you can then dial out to any landline anywhere in the world because the connectivity will be provided. When this does become available, there'll be a number of providers who you can purchase access through, and that will give you the flexibility to choose different plans and different hosting providers to look after that Pstn connectivity. But again, one of the big advantages here is because the identities of the users are known to Office 365 and therefore Skype for Business, all their information can be tracked. So all the calls that they make can easily be logged. You can see the call quality. You can look at reports and basically say what is the most used time for my calls, what's the minimized time, and you can begin to start applying traffic analysis and also load balancing to be able to balance those up to give you a better value for money. So again, it gives you the functionality which is probably out there with other products, but the big advantage these sort of add-ons are going to bring is the ability to bring everything under a single umbrella, to be able to deploy, managed and maintained using a single console. And the expectation also is that we'll also be able to deploy these using PowerShell and scripting. So this is going to obviously save people a hell of a lot of time. Now the advice would be that if you are a partner, if you're interested in this, I certainly see it as going to be a very, very large area and have a lot of interest for many, many customers. Now is the time to get on board and start learning these systems. The systems are available in the US and rolling out to the UK, so they're not far from our shores. And there is a big advantage, obviously, with being first off the rack and being ready when this stuff hits the ground running, rather than waiting and learning about it after the fact. So certainly the advice I'd be giving you is make sure that you are up to date and aware of what is available, what the features are, see what's coming out of the US, and prepare your business for the option to start upselling and offering this to clients, because there will be quite significant demand for this product, and it's certainly going to drive a lot of upsell in the market. And the big seller is going to be the integration. And from a reseller's point of view, it's also going to have an advantageous effect that, again, it's going to reduce the amount of hardware that you need to deploy. So the Cloud PBX will allow you to roll out a full phone system, basically all directly via software and all directly to existing Office 365 users. So again, I think this is a really key thing of E5, and certainly encourage all resellers to get on board with this, make sure they're kept up to speed. And again, some of the features aren't available, but I think you'll find they will come here much sooner than we do expect. Slide, please. Okay, so some other features here of E5 are, firstly, the fact that you now get Power BI Pro. So if you didn't know, Power BI is basically a dashboarding tool that will sit on top of any sort of data. So it will sit on top of SQL, it will sit on top of Excel files and allow you to perform analysis. So you can take a customer's Excel file from their accounting system, you can upload it into Power BI, and then you can start creating a management dashboard that is interactive, in which users can click on that information and drill down to find exactly what they need for their business. Now, the basic version of Power BI is free. It can easily be added into Office 365. If you want to do that, simply log into powerbi.com with your Office 365 account, and it will automatically be added to your tenant. However, if the features that you require go beyond the basic version, so typically this would include people who have larger data models who need their data refreshed in much faster. So if they're looking to get their data refreshed, in the matter of hours or minutes rather than the traditional standard way, then they need to look at Power BI Pro. Power BI Pro will also provide the ability to have storage. So you could certainly go out and sell a standalone version of Power BI Pro to a customer who may be very keen on doing analysis using their spreadsheets. And again, that may be a good way to start their journey to Office 365. So again, remember the key element here is Power BI by itself is a free option, powerbi.com, but there is a Pro version which gives more functionality, typically around what space is available by default and also the refresh time on the data. So again, another really great way to go and garner customer interest in the Office 365 product is to show them Power BI. Now, also we're seeing with E5 something called Delve Analytics. So if you aren't familiar with Delve, Delve runs on something called the Office Graph. So the Office Graph in Office 365 is looking at all the interactions users have with their data, with their information like emails and conversations in Yammer, but also their interactions with other people in their business. This information and activity is then fed into machine learning, and that is then returned to the user in a dashboard that shows them basically documents that are most relevant based on their usage. Now, all those analytics at a lower level also provide very good information on how the user is interacting with the Office 365 product, how many emails they send, who they send them to, what documents they're using, how much time they're spending in the system, and so on. So all those sort of statistics, thanks to the E5 suite, are now surfaced using Delve Analytics. So a user can go in and look at their portal. They can see information about, for example, how many emails they send, who they send the most emails to, how long those emails take to get replies, how much time they are spending working normal hours versus after hours on weekends. It also shows their interactions with other people in the organization. So they can look at that, and maybe they've got to work with a number of teams. They'll see the strength of those connections based on the interactions shown in a nice, simple dashboard, which is known as, again, Delve Analytics. So again, we expect to see a lot more tools, a lot more third-party developers tap in to the underlying data that is being accumulated around Office 365 usage to help users understand how to improve their productivity and, again, get the most out of the product. So again, the Power BI Pro and the Delve Analytics are both part and included in the E5 suite. Slide, please. Some of the other features that E5 has added is a lot more around security. So the first of these is the customer lockbox, which I will cover in a bit more detail on the next slide. It basically gives the customer full control of their data at all times. But Microsoft have also introduced something called Advanced Threat Protection. Now, what that means is what we're seeing in today's landscape is that malware like CryptoLocker is basically getting straight through a lot of AV products because the AV products rely on signatures which are reactive rather than proactive. So again, it doesn't take much to change that, and they're always ahead of the signatures. So what the Advanced Threat Protection does, for example, is it will note a potential malicious attachment. It will then route that off to be dealt with in a sandboxed environment. Now, what happens in that sandboxed environment is that the attachment is actually opened in a virtual machine, and Microsoft then looks at exactly what interactions that has with the virtual machine. So if that then starts to go and encrypt files or change registry settings or do things that it's not supposed to do in that sandboxed environment, then Microsoft will flag that, take actions, and report that to the user, and obviously to third-party virus vendors as well to let them know. But the important thing is that the user is protected because effectively suspect attachments are opened in a sandbox by Microsoft before they even reach the end user. Another thing that we see a lot of is that when inbound emails come in, they have a valid link, and then later on the attacker changes that link in the background, so when the user clicks on it, it actually reroutes them to a third-party website. So what Microsoft will again do with advanced threat protection, it will monitor those links. It will continue to monitor those through the life of the email. If they do change or if they are suspect, the user will be prompted and will be protected from going to those third-party malicious sites. So again, Microsoft will, the advanced threat protection will provide that ongoing protection against the most common attacks, such as things like CryptoLocker and also the changing of links after the mail has actually been received. The third option that we're now seeing in E5 is the more advanced options in eDiscovery. So eDiscovery, in essence, allows us to search across all our information sources for a certain term or terms or query, and we can then collect that information, bundle it together, and examine it ourselves, or we can then provide it to a third party, typically upon a legal request. So we are seeing more advanced options with the eDiscovery where you can target interactions between terms and users and all that sort of stuff. So again, a lot of this is providing that additional compliance, that additional security blanket on top of what we've already seen with Office 365. Slide, please. Just a quick word on Customer Lockbox. Just one more click, please. Bring up the next one. Thank you. So what we see, no, there's no back one. So what we're seeing now is that many customers have a hesitancy to move to the cloud because they're concerned about third parties accessing their data. They're concerned that, for example, a government could make a secret request to Microsoft and Microsoft will be compelled to provide access to a customer's data without letting them know. The resolution of this for customers who are concerned is Customer Lockbox. So what that means is that a customer basically locks their data so that no third party can access that data, and unless it is unlocked by the customer. So typically, Microsoft will need to work on the data for some support reason. It will have to make a request to the customer to unlock the lockbox, and the customer will do that for a certain period of time, and all interactions are then recorded and audited for later use. So again, for those customers who really want the security of knowing they are the only ones that can control access to their data, the Customer Lockbox, again, included in the E5 suite, is now available to them. Next slide. Okay, so let's just build that out to the search one for me, please. Thank you. So again, eDiscovery and in-place hold has been improved with E5. So what we're getting basically is the ability to hold data. So if you have users' mailboxes, you can put the mail on hold. That means that no matter what the user does at that point, deletes, erases, purges, that data will be held and can be searched and recovered if required, typically for a legal request using eDiscovery tools. It means also that, for example, if employees do leave and they delete everything in their mailbox before they leave, that can then be recovered and looked at if needed. Of course, we do all this through advanced search. So again, all this stuff is being accumulated. It's not much good unless we can actually use the advanced search feature. So again, you'll see that it includes deduplication. It also allows us to create certain cases which are based on terms or on users. So again, we can make sure that we get access to the right amount of data without having to take the whole lot basically offline. And importantly, if we need to, we can export a lot of the results and provide it to third parties if there is the need to do that. Slide, please. Okay, so the other thing that Microsoft has just announced is Advanced Security Management. So on top of the Advanced Threat Protection, we now get Advanced Security Management. Now, the Advanced Security Management works by providing machine learning over the top of Office 365 activity, and it's looking for anomalies in the system. So what it's looking for is building up a profile of the way users work with their data, how information flows within the organization, and when something falls outside that, it then throws up a warning and can take actions as well. So, for example, if you have a user that comes in more or less every day at 9, leaves at 5, works on emails and something perhaps in their OneDrive, if, for example, that user suddenly logs in at 2 o'clock in the morning from somewhere in China and then starts accessing additional information in the team site, then that's obviously going to be flagged as a security potential issue and will allow you to be basically reported on and take action on. And you'll see this represented in a nice console that can be easily accessed, and again, you can actually take resolutions on those alerts. So the way security is going is we have to be proactive. We can't be reactive anymore. We can't rely on signatures. We can't basically allow this sort of stuff to get through. It's just happening too regularly and changing too quickly. So the only way we can deal with it is to actually open it like we did before in the sandboxed environment, or we use machine learning to look at the standard activities and build up a profile that we can then apply and say, hang on, that's outside our normal profile. So again, this advanced security management is included in the E5 suite. Slide, please. If we can build this out to the last one, which is there is never more opportunity. That's it. Thank you. So again, in summary, the opportunities around the Office 365 are enormous, especially around the E5. So the idea here is Office 365 is not just a product to host your mail on. It is not just a product to put files and folders on. It is a platform. You can utilize things like the Skype for Business, which can now connect to, will now be soon be able to connect to phone systems. You can now connect things like Yammer. You can now use the advanced threat analytics to firmly protect an organization. The whole focus then is around building services and adding value, not just selling the product. So there's very little money to be made typically in selling the licenses. The value is building services and offering additional training, implementation, all that sort of stuff around the products that Office 365 does provide. Importantly, you want to be more than a one-hit wonder. You just don't want to do email. You want to make sure that you're taking advantage of all the features that are available, or working with third parties that you've built up a relationship who can help you implement things like CRM and maybe Yammer and maybe SharePoint. Again, look at upselling, especially the cloud and the voice stuff. Again, not quite here yet, but it's important to be ready for that and be prepared for when that does hit our shores, because it will be big and there will be great demand, I think, for that. Again, don't underestimate how important the security is. Many customers who get hit with crypto locker waste or spend a significant amount of time cleaning it up. Those costs are real. They are costing the business part of their profit. And again, if we can provide tools, if we can provide automated tools that E5 does include, that's certainly going to save time and effort and make the business much more productive. So again, security may seem like a cost, but it's certainly, when it does work, it can save the business lots and lots of time, effort, and importantly, money. So again, make sure you exploit, you understand all the features of things like E5, the advanced threat analytics, but even things like Exchange. There's data loss prevention, there's malware protection, there's a whole lot of stuff built into those. Again, what we find is that customers are responsive to those who understand the technology, work out how it can leverage and help their business. So again, it's not about selling the licenses, it's about helping the business drive more value, and that's, as Craig mentioned, the important part of becoming the virtual CIO. You really want to help them use technology, the ultimate, to further their business opportunities. Now, speaking of opportunity, obviously with E5, the additional features, what's also coming in the other Microsoft Cloud platforms, there really has never been more opportunity. Now, importantly, it's not a cloud or nothing environment. You can certainly still do a hybrid environment. You can implement one or all of these. The good thing about Office 365 and many of Microsoft's cloud platforms is you can chop and change, mix and match as required. So you've got that flexibility. There's certainly far more choice than there ever was. And that, again, can be a challenge keeping up and understanding, but is also an opportunity to take all those individual products to work with other partners to provide those to customers, because, again, what we're seeing now is enterprise tools with full functionality being available down to the one-man business. So that's a huge opportunity for businesses who would never have had that ability to access those high-end tools. Now they just need to pay for it per user per month. And again, you'd be surprised when you go and talk to customers and show them the features and explain the benefits of E5 that many customers do want these features and are willing to pay because they will help their business. So slide, please. I think that's the last one from me. I've got a list of resources available. So again, I think Craig will provide that after the fact again. So go and have a look at the E5 in detail. Again, have a look at the online threat management protection, which basically does a sandbox for you. A couple of videos, the video there for you to have a look. And again, have a look at the advanced security management that's coming with the Office 365 stuff. So I think that's all from me. Thank you very much, Craig, and I'll hand it back to you.
Thank you, Rob. As said, yes, we will be sending out this deck, and I'll add in a couple more links in there as well. There's a really good YouTube channel from the guys at Skype for Business and their Office Mechanics series in there to give you a little bit more in-depth over those Skype for Business functionalities, what is available and what is coming. And also just include a couple of things around some of the blogs that Rob's been putting out around and how easy it is to set up a small business kind of conferencing service with the likes of Skype for Business and some of the low-cost hardware coming out from the likes of Logitech and their built-in cameras. So before we sign off, I just wanted to quickly run through some of the offers that we have got out there in market running through to the end of June. If you haven't already logged on to the marketplace and transacted for the first time, when you do that, you will get a $100 Visa card in there for you. We've got some rebates running on the Enterprise Mobility Suite services or the Azure Active Directory Premium subscriptions on there as well. And if you're looking at the CSP program for that monthly, or if you're looking at the annual options that we have on the marketplace there, we're running a bit of a promo on there. Absolutely, when it comes to those annual subscriptions, we are the most cost-effective out there in market. Other key thing around the annual subscriptions on the marketplace is that we are able to do pro-rata user pricing as well. So the ability to add on those additional users throughout the year without having to worry about those anniversary renewal dates moving. And finally, for those that are up and running on Azure and are looking at the new Azure CSP program, get in there, spin up a tenant, start running some services to customers, and if it's your first tenant that you've spun up, there's up to a $100 rebate on your first month's usage billing on there as well. But that is all from me, and thank you again to Rob for running us through the E5 today. If you do have any more questions, our information is up on the screen there. Email us at imcloudau@ingrammicro.com. Better yet, give us a call. Make sure you do get on into our LinkedIn groups, follow us on our YouTube, get onto Twitter. There's a ton of information, a ton of videos that we're putting up on YouTube, and along, as I said, we're launching that new on-demand platform as well. But thank you again for joining us this afternoon. That's all from me. Please do join us next week. You'll see another couple of invites go out where we dive a little bit deeper into the new Acronis product onto the marketplace. Excellent. That's all. Thanks very much for that.